Hey, this is Mike Buzan. Obviously, this is my channel, but I'm going to be talking about art goals for 2023 and also some things that I made last year, 2022. And if you have any goals or resolutions that you're making this year, let me know in the comments, or even projects that you did last year that you're proud of. I'd like to hear what people are doing. These kind of videos where you make a sort of New Year's resolution or goals, I'm approaching this a little bit differently in that I'm not setting super specific goals, such as lose 25 pounds, which for me would be a problem. Setting sort of like goals like that, where you have a specific number, yes, there is a strategy to that and it can be beneficial. However, there's pros and cons. One of the cons would be if you don't lose 25 pounds, you feel like a failure, but really there were small wins along the way if you took the steps to get there. So I'm much more interested in taking steps and establishing processes that will create results as a byproduct. For instance, in my own case, I want to make a film, maybe a short film, maybe probably not feature length, but at least a personal animation film that tells a story. And instead of saying I have to complete it this year, because I really have no idea how long it'll take, instead what I'm doing is, well, I'm going to take the specific steps of pre-production, such as writing a script and creating character designs, figuring out how to fund it, and so on. So setting up a foundation to reach that goal is much more pragmatic than simply stating a goal that you're going to accomplish. It's much more efficient to actually focus on the processes that'll lead you to that result. Why am I making a video like this? Well, it's more as a personal diary. I do this every year where I talk about things that I want to do. And looking over my past end of year videos, I've always talked about things like I'm going to do more personal projects and be more active on YouTube. And it's kind of just this circular cycle. And then I feel kind of guilty that this year I was just doing client work and I didn't really stick to my guns, but actually it's better to be a little bit more fluid, be a little bit more like water, adaptable. You can freeze, you can turn into steam. It's that Bruce Lee quote, where you fit the shape of the cup. However, this year I really am going to try to take more creative risks and focus more on personal projects, like really just super hyper focus on it. Before I talk about the goals that I want to do, like I said, this is kind of like a fossil record, laying down things that I did last year just as a personal diary and also to inspire your own creative projects. 2022, the main things I did was I did 3 main big client projects. Before I get to that, I'll just talk about some of the smaller stuff I did. 33 YouTube videos, and I did a couple more animation tutorials, just small ones. And I did a fire course, which is the first ever animation course I've ever done. Then I did 250 animated loops for my shop and Patreon. And then the video I'm most proud of for YouTube was this Sonic Frontiers prologue. That was a Knuckles animation analysis video. And I want to do more videos like this, really picking apart the mechanics and storytelling devices that go into animation, just looking at media through a more critical eye and deconstructing it into bite-sized pieces for people, not just animators, but a general audience, to appreciate more the craftsmanship and just all the thought that goes into even a 3-minute animation sequence. And the big projects that I did for clients in 2022 was City of Venom, which was a 5-minute rubber hose style animation for the YouTube channel Mashed. It's a comedy, it's a quirky rubber hose, zany 1930s style Betty Boop meets the Marvel Universe, zany stuff, and it's kind of the most coherent story I've ever worked on. In the summer, I worked on tour visuals for Bad Bunny. He's a musician. I never heard of him my entire life, but I guess he's like really popular. the Modern Logic, the studio reached out, and me and Brittany were able to assist on that. And the main thing I did was there were like different songs that had different environments, and I was mostly responsible for a couple songs that basically took place underwater, and we animated these kind of surreal sea creatures. So instead of just like a turtle, I designed a turtle type creature with like a bunch of arms and just one eye. And when I first designed them, I sent it to the team, and they're like, "You forgot to give him a shell." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a pretty important feature of a turtle is their shell." So it was fun to work with the team though, and we all communicated on Slack and had very specific structure of who's working on what with these documents, and it was all super organized. Something I'm not super used to, but it was a very good working experience. I definitely want to work more with studios who have budgets and like actual structure. When I was telling my best friend about it, I was like, he was asking what I'm working on this summer, and we were just driving, and I told him I asked him if he's ever heard of this guy Bad Rabbit, and he's like, "Do you mean Bad Bunny?" It's like, "Oh, I guess so." And then he kind of like told me he's a big deal, and then he called his girlfriend, and he was like, "Guess who Mike is working with?" And then he told her, and I heard her like screaming on the phone, and that's when I realized that don't know anything about anything. And then well, let's see here. Oh yeah, okay. And then after that, in the fall, worked on a music video for Rhett McLaughlin, his band James and the Shame, and we only had 6 weeks to work on this 3.5 minute music video, and it was extremely intense to get it done on time. Luckily, had an incredibly clear script with specific storyboard ideas already written out, so it was really just a matter of adapting it to our style and telling a coherent story while still making it trippy. And then smaller projects I did was logo animation for a brand, did an alien design for a brand, and then something I've kind of started exploring in the music video realm is creating music videos out of all these animated loops I've already animated. So essentially taking these animation assets like Lego blocks and building them into unique music videos that flow to the song of the band. And so basically what this means is when people reach out to me asking for a music video, fully custom work is very time consuming and expensive. And I'm kind of running out of steam in that domain. So with the animated music video created out of my library of animation loops that I'm already producing for Patreon and the shop, it gets more mileage out of these assets, more bang for the buck, so to speak. And what this means is I can produce a music video much more quickly and much more affordably for smaller bands who maybe don't have a huge budget to work with, but they still want some cool visuals that are edited in sync with their song. Here's some personal projects I'm going to work on for 2023. I might not finish these, but these are things that I'm going to consistently focus on and make progress on. An animation film. Probably this is a short film. I don't think a feature film, but it's just this idea of this tower that's in a constant state of being built and falling apart, loosely based on the Tower of Babel, but it's going to be this futuristic kind of dystopian thing with like roller coasters and these bird characters who inhabit the place. There's going to be battles. Just like I have themes and ideas, but I don't have really any characters or any structure. So I'm going to be learning about script writing, structuring a coherent story. Another thing is Kickstarter ideas. I've never done a Kickstarter, but I'm going to toy around with researching how to do one of those successfully. And some Kickstarter ideas would be a 15-second animated teaser to post on YouTube, a 3 to 5 minute animation pilot. So this could even be something as simple as not fully animated characters in the pilot, but more like an animatic with some minimal animation, but the main focus is just on the storyboards telling the story. and any kind of polish would be done later. And then another idea for a Kickstarter idea would be to animate the first act of the movie and basically just explore using Kickstarter as a platform to fund the individual aspects of creating a film, as opposed to just saying, fund this whole movie and then having a really big budget that's unrealistic and a little bit more difficult to accomplish. It's more logical to break things down into individual blocks that you can build up. Another thing is remastering and uploading my old songs. I made over 100 songs from 2008 to 2015, and I just want to put them on my music channel, keep this animation channel kind of separate from all of that. Also, just working on music every day, again, even if that means something as simple as strumming an acoustic guitar for a few minutes before bed. Always just keeping music close to my heart because it's such a passion, and it's something that's intrinsically rewarding. It's not something that makes money for me or is any kind of focus for extrinsic rewards, as in like popularity or some kind of lifestyle thing or generating income. All of that's completely irrelevant when it comes to music. If there was nobody on this planet and I was literally the only person left, I would still strum an acoustic guitar every day. It's just fun. There's a reason they call it playing music, because it's like playing. Animating, you don't play animating. Animating is hard work. It's still also rewarding, but in a bit of a different way. It's a little more meditative. I definitely get in the flow state when animating, but there's a lot more pain involved. It's not as immediate. You don't get immediate results when you sit down, and it takes hours and hours just to make a few seconds of motion. Whereas with music, immediately you can play a few chords and you have something that's enjoyable. Another goal is to work on a 2D animation course for complete beginners. Don't know if I'll finish it this year, but I do kind of want to try to consistently pump out one course a year. So last year I did the fire animation course, which was a little easier for me because special effects animation comes a little more naturally. But doing like character animation or just like the mechanics of what goes into an animation show, like dialogue and all the different pieces, that's a little bit more mentally taxing. So I'm definitely going to need to do a lot more research with that. Another thing, this isn't art related, but just in a way it is, it's to continue working out a few times a week and also walking every day. Because we have physical bodies, we are physical beings, and your brain is part of your body. It's an organ. Just like any other part of your body, it needs to be exercised, and that doesn't just mean mental exercising as in doing math homework or any kind of cognitively demanding task. Physically moving around, walking, you need to get out in sunshine and walk and get the blood pumping and also get quality sleep, because sleep flushes out neurotoxins that build up over the day. It goes in your spinal fluid, and you literally pee it out basically, which is why sleep deprivation is extremely dangerous. You will die if you don't get enough sleep sooner than you would if you don't get enough water or food. It's the most important thing. So continue to walk every day and get quality sleep. Is paramount to any type of discipline, be it physical or more just creative. The foundation for doing everything well on a long-term basis is your physical health. It's all connected. There's not this idea that there's a mind-body duality is complete nonsense. It's literally pseudoscience. Your brain is part of your body. There's no separation from your brain and your body. Your nervous system is your brain and you are your brain. It's all connected. I feel like I've been rambling, but I guess that's just the nature of making these videos. And now I'm going to probably start talking about how weird it is to talk about things. See, I just think about stuff a lot, and then I think about thinking about stuff, and then I think, but am I just thinking that I'm thinking about this a lot, or is this the appropriate amount to think about it? Or maybe I'm not thinking about it enough. I don't know. I need to think about that, but I guess, yeah, this is turning into a stream of consciousness thing, so I'm just going to end it now. In the comments, let me know what you're working on, or things that you made last year that you're happy about. I'd like to see what people are up to. So thanks a lot for watching.